Why Miguel and Robby together are going to bring the result home literally together. Now, before I go any further in this video, yes, it's no secret I'm way more lenient to Robby bringing the dub home than Miguel. But make no mistake, Robby cannot bring it home without Miguel. You have no Miguel, Robby's going to lose. Like, they're all going to lose. That's been the theme of this entire show. Now, I already know the comments that are going to be flooding in any second now. Oh, Robby's going to get injured. Miguel's going to take... No. If they do that, I rank the show down. I've said this a million times, and this is because of my most recent live stream. I rank the show down. If this is how... I've always said, how you end a show is as important as ending it. If you have some way that Robby gets hoed out of winning a trophy again, but Hawk can have a trophy, then come on. Like, then this whole show, what was the point of Robby's character arc? Now, for those who say it started with Miguel, it should end with Miguel, while that's a very fair point, if you really think a character's arc is only defined just by a piece of silverware, especially for Miguel, then the show has failed. Plain and simple. I think Miguel has been done a disservice for a few seasons now. When you look at his motivation in season 3 of, no, I need to prove it again, blah, blah, blah. It's not as strong as Robby's right now. It's not. Like, it just is. To me, in my opinion, it's not as strong. And I feel like this is a problem that's been reoccurring with Miguel for a couple of seasons now. He's just kind of been standing here. Now, in terms of mentality, in terms of how he handles situations, his growth has been exponential. I'd say he's the most developed and grown in terms of maturity out of the teen kids. But I want Miguel's clinical edge back. I want that season 2 Miggy back. I want the season 1 Miguel back. It's not that I don't like current Miguel. It's just I feel like Robby has more edge in the current moment than Miguel does. And that's just my opinion. You haven't got to like it. It's just the way it is. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video, I think it's so important that this video is done by me, because there seems to be a wave of people that just don't like Robby having his shine. Like, anytime you mention Robby, there's like a wave of people that just flock over and just jump down your throat because you said anything other than Miguel. And the way I see it, if we can talk about pity wins in this show, if Hawk has a win, the son of Johnny Lawrence deserves a win as well. Now, here's what I want to extend, and I can't take full credit for this because this links to conversations I've had with any of the Kings, conversations I've had with my bro Sham from Cobra, Cobra Kai Nation. This links to all of those conversations. These two are going to bring the result home together. How? Robby is still going to fight against Kwon. I don't care what a leaked image says. If that leaked image is true, then hey, hand on heart, here and now, I'm going to be disappointed. I will rank the show down, because to me, I want this show to grow some balls. I want it to man up a little bit. I'm tired of characters, constantly getting blindsided or not having their feelings in it, or blah 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 blah. Like, no, for once, we're gonna dig deep. We're gonna dig deep. We're gonna have these characters fight for their lives. Quite literally, especially with it being a global tournament against the world's best. You've got people like Kwon, for one, who's absolutely ruthless, doesn't care who he hurts, complete monster. And then you've got people like Axel, who's basically the Karate Kid version of Drago. Like, these kids are dangerous. Without Robby and Miguel being in solidarity with each other, they'll lose again. So, to me, what the show has showcased since the start of the show, if we go all the way back, is Robby has been set up from the minute he joined the karate fold. He's learned from Daniel. He's learned from Kreese. He learned from Silver. He learned from Johnny. He's learned from Chosen. He's learning from Mike. He's got a bit of every sensei in him. Like, a bit of every sensei has taught Robby. With Miguel, same thing. Learned from Johnny. Learned a little bit from Kreese. Learned a bit from Daniel. Learned a bit from Chosen, a bit from Mike. These two, especially even Hawk as well, are so evolved. I feel like people are sleeping on the dynamic between these two and missing the entire point of their arcs. Let's say, for the sake of discussion, right? Robby doesn't win the Sekai Taikai. I did a whole video on it. Would I be upset? A little bit, because I feel like you do Robby's character a disservice. But it all lies in a very specific word. It's called execution. If it's executed poorly and Robby's just ham-fisted out of there just so you can give it to Miguel, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And for people that really love this theory, you need to watch more movies. Like, I'm just going to put it straight. You need to watch more movies and more shows. Hell, anyone who watches anime should know that this is Robby's time to shine. It is. I'm sorry. I'm not giving any wiggle room. It's Robby's time to shine. Stop. Like, I noticed this trend. Robby and Miguel are equals so long as Robby's always in second. He's always in second place. He's always taking Miguel's sloppy seconds. And I saw a comment that was put in my stream the other day about, oh, yeah, but, you know, it started with Miguel, blah, blah, blah. From Robby's point of view, this guy got cheated on, right? His father picked Miguel over him, constantly abandoned by everyone. His dad was never there for 16 years of his life. The way I see it, Robby's been getting screwed over since way before the show even started. I think you send such a powerful message if Robby, this kid who is going to become an absolute degenerate, right? Key word there. What was his dad going to be? Ace degenerate, ex-degenerate? You send a very powerful message to kids around the world. You define your journey. Your journey is not set in stone, despite all of your experiences, everything you've been through. You are what you carve for yourself. On God, it would be... You don't... I want someone... Answer me honestly. Robby winning with his newfound family, with his sensei Daniel, with his dad, Johnny, you can't tell me that that wouldn't get you in your feels. The score by Leo and Zach is playing, and Robby's holding the trophy. You can't tell me that wouldn't get you in your feels. And I've got the reputation of Robby fanboy, as I've often joked about. But no, I'm a storyteller, an actor, and an executive producer. Like, I don't care about this fanboyism nonsense. I care about storytelling and execution of good story. Now, where does that leave Miguel? You have the entirety of part 3. We have no idea what's going on in part 3. We have no idea what's going to happen. And there's an article that was done recently with Jacob Bertrand, where he said himself to all the Miguel stands out there, let Robby have his time. Thank you. Just let Robby have his moment. Like, for God's sake. 1, it's a fictional character. Secondly, go to the gym. 3, just relax. Every character will get their shine. Every single character. John, Josh, and Hayden are excellent at making sure every character gets some kind of payoff, right? I'll extend an olive branch. Robby lost in season 1, right? He lost. But his character arc was merely just beginning. He lost in season 4, but he came home and he was reunited with his dad, okay? Take Miguel. He won in season 1, but then he lost his girlfriend. He lost his way. It was the beginning of all the events that played out in season 2. It was the catalyst. Season 4, his heart wasn't in it. He didn't know what he was fighting for. We can tap into that to extend an olive branch to Miguel. This is what I was saying before. Forget Robby for a second. I want Miguel to have more of a personal reason to win this beyond Stanford. Who cares about Stanford University? Who cares? Compared to every other character's motivation, especially to me. I don't know what the Western world's obsession is with higher state education being the see-all, be-all, and end-all to have a good life. I mean, the Daniel story clearly shows you can do it without it. And this video is going to be quite long, guys, because this is one video that I needed to make, because every live stream I'm saying the same thing, and I hope this video dispels a lot of it. And what will happen is people will take 5 seconds of what I said out of context, and they'll glom onto that, and then they'll share it around, and they'll go, oh yeah. So with Miguel, I want him to have more of a personal stake, and the introduction of Axel's character is exactly how you do that. That's exactly how you make it personal. Now, remember that deleted scene, or alternate scene from the first Karate Kid film, right? where Johnny has the trophy, he gives it to Daniel, and he says, "You're all right, you know, LaRusso, you're all right." Imagine that. Full circle with these two. Right here. The same way Johnny gave the trophy to Daniel, Robby and Miguel sharing that trophy together. Because their combined effort brought the result home. Now, yes, Robby will be fighting in the captain's fight. He will ultimately decide the fight at the end of the day. I think Robby will be the final fight. Robby against Kwon will be the final match. The match before it, however, to decide who fights Cobra Kai, right? The match to decide who fights Kwon is decided by Miguel beating Axel. Without Miguel beating Axel, you have no Robby versus Kwon. So therefore, Miguel is so crucial to the result. So crucial. Now, some could say he's taking sloppy seconds. I disagree. I very much disagree. You've got Bad Boy versus Bad Boy. All right, that's Kwon and Robby. You've got Beast versus Beast. That's Miguel versus Axel. And someone like Axel, from what we know, Miguel is perfect to fight him. Perfect. For someone like Kwon, Robby is perfect to fight him. And we've also heard from Jacob Bertrand that there's basically a fight every episode. So once the Sekai Taikai is said and done, don't rule out a Robby and Axel fight or a Miguel and Kwon fight. Now, I know, spoiler warning, potential spoiler warning, 3, 2, 1. There's a leaked image going around of Robby fighting Axel and whatever else. Now, bear in mind, they did say they filmed quite a lot to throw people off. There is every chance. Everything I've said for the last 11 minutes could be completely wrong. Robby gets injured to Kwon. Miguel fights Kwon in the final and wins. Yeah, that could happen. But I really hope it doesn't. It feels lazy. It feels cheap. To me, it feels cheap. It's not about necessarily to do with what character you like more. I'm talking from a storytelling standpoint. And again, I've got a video coming soon talking about this, but we know nothing about part 3. We know nothing. Like, once part 2 is said and done, yeah, we'll have a rough idea. But part 3 has so much mystery to it, so much intrigue. Get to the Sekai Taikai, get it done, get out of there. Like, I would like the Sekai Taikai to be done within 4 episodes. I want it to be done in 4, maybe 5 episodes. Like, I want it to be done by the end of part 2. Latest. I don't want it going into part 3. I want part 3 to be its own contained thing, its own contained act, away from the tournament. Now, I also want to extend an olive branch here. This is hopefully going to try and bring some Robby and Miguel fans together. I'm really trying here. Think of the scene when Mike Barnes is training them. When Robby and Miguel are in perfect sync, who's touching them? No one. Now, we don't know much about Axel thus far, but we do know a bit about Kwon. Kwon and Yoon are arguably the 2 best fighters in the Cobra Kai dojo, okay? If Kwon and Yoon fight Miguel and Robby, they're getting creamed. Like, let's not overrate Kwon and his abilities. Robby and Miguel, we've grown with since the start of this show. When they are in sync, it's literally like Tommy Oliver and Jason from Power Rangers. These two are on business. And I guarantee you, if there's a 2v2 fight that's going to happen, I want Kwon and Yoon versus these two. Or, if anything, Kwon and Axel against these two. However way you can play it. But if it's like a dojo-specific thing, Kwon and Yoon against these two, for me, would be such a great fight. Like, honestly, and the storytelling you can have with that. Miguel and Robby are in sync with each other. They're united. They're fighting for their futures. They're fighting for their family. They're fighting together. They're in solidarity with each other. Versus Kwon and Yoon that are fighting for themselves and they're not in solidarity with each other. And arguably, that's what the whole show has been all about since the very, very beginning of this entire show. And I really do hope with this video that there's a bit of an olive branch extended between Miguel and Robby fans to look at the bigger picture here. These two are on the same page. Let Robby have his moment. Let him have it. Because at the end of the day, these two are now on the same page. We're in the end game now. These two are on the same side. Like, honestly, Anakin and Obi-Wan, Dom and Brian, Goku and Vegeta, Leonardo and Raphael, Tommy and Jason, Adonis and Damien. Like, Rocky and Apollo, like any duo ever. Like, yeah, I mean, of course, Hawk is great and he's cool. But in terms of like a brother rival dynamic where they push each other, I think it makes more sense to have Robby win the Sekai Taikai and Miguel to deal with the fallout. You know, I think what the show has been building up to with these fights is in tournaments, when Robby's focused, it's no contest to me. Like, the minute Robby locks in and has that aura, no one's touching him. No one is touching him. The minute Miguel is determined in a fight, like in a real fight, away from rules, whatever, no one's touching him. The school fight, the dojo fight, the house fight. I want to see all of that stuff. And let it not be overstated. Once the Sekai Taikai is said and done, if Robby holds up that trophy, him sharing it with Miguel would be such a beautiful moment. Like, I really... I don't understand why people don't want to see something like that. It's so pure. It's so beautiful. And Karate Kid in this or Cobra Kai in this tournament, it's the Olympics of karate. Like, it could be a points decision. Whereas, like, maybe Miguel and Robby are the final two deciders. And if they beat their opponents, Miguel and Robby bring the dub home. Robby beats Quan, then Miguel beats Axel, and then that's it. Maybe the three dojos end up tied. Whatever Axel's dojo is, I need to fact check the name. Quan's Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do. But maybe because of like a points that there's many different ways they can do it. But they've had this in the making for 6 seasons, and Robby was meant to win this trophy in season 4, and they didn't give it to him. Why would they do that? Now, if they gave it to him in season 4, I'd say no brainer, Miguel's gonna win, obviously. But they didn't. There's a reason why. Now, admittedly, I hope they had a plan for that and didn't do it just to throw the fans off. But I'm really hopeful they find a way to satisfy both Miguel and Robby fans. Because to me, I love them both. Yes, I'm way more lenient to Robby. Because to me, Robby has been getting screwed over since the start of the show. But let it not be, forgotten about that, in my opinion, Miguel's been missing something for the last 3 seasons. And I couldn't quite place it until one of my bros told me. It's his edge. He's missing his edge. But this picture right here from season 5, this is the solidarity I want for these two, right? And this has turned into a really long video, but I hope that you've all got the context and the nuance from this video. It's one of the longest videos I've done on this topic. But every live stream, I get asked the same bloody question. And everyone's focusing so much on the Sekai Taikai, the Sekai Taikai, the Sekai Taikai. This is the problem that the actual characters in the show have. They're so focused on the trophy, they've forgotten what the real problem is. And to me, there is a huge setup when Robby's girlfriend walks into Miyagi-Do and he knows what he's fighting for. Goes all the way back to what Chosen said. The reason your dad beat me, Sam, is because he was fighting for, I was fighting against. Robby has been fighting against this entire show. Now he's fighting for. And this is his chance to redeem himself and make things right for all the wrong that he has done across this show. Because, again, he almost killed Miguel, okay? In my opinion, he hasn't redeemed himself. Yeah, he's on the right path, but he hasn't redeemed himself yet. I want to see that. Call it bias, I want to see that. And I'm sure many people would too. Now, Miguel, on the other hand, deserves way better than college as a motivation. I want there to be a personal stake there for him. And I feel like Miguel, for the last kind of 3 seasons, he's had motivations, but I just feel like they can go more with it. They can do more. And I feel like season 3 Miguel, I want that Miguel back. The one that called Johnny out. The one that kicked Kyla's ass within 3 seconds. The coma version of Miguel that was on frickin' business. I want to see that Miguel come back. You know, the one that was in the forest that didn't take no shit. You know, that put someone on their ass. You know? So this is my extension to the Cobra Kai fandom right now. To try and say, hey, look, part 2 is around the corner. We're in Geeked Week. Let's just try and appreciate the great journey that we've gone on with both of these two characters. And I've got a video talking about their different styles and how it helped them for season 1, and why it can be so applied. Because I'm about to get really deep here about men's mental health and the importance of a positive male role model in a young boy's life, and the two different approaches, one being meditation and balance. That's Robby with Miyagi-Do and Daniel. One being badass and you know, just, you know, being relentless, and that's Cobra Kai, Miguel, and Johnny, you know, and they complement each other so well. Like, honestly, one of my favorite duos in the whole of pop culture. I love these two. I really do. So hopefully that will extend a bit of an olive branch to you guys. I know there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with some of the points that I've said, and that's okay. It's just fandom. It's normal. But there's no mudslinging. There's no need to be a prick, you know? So hopefully that will extend an olive branch to you guys. And hey, look, for anyone that's called me a Robby fanboy over the years, you're dead right. But also, I've literally just told... I think we can all agree Miguel hasn't really felt the same in the last 3 seasons. Not in a bad way. It's just he's missing something. And I hope part 2 and part 3 give him that and remind us why the show started with him in the first place, you know? I'll see you guys in another video very soon. Take care. And yeah, honestly, I love these two. What a duo. What a duo. Give us 2v2 fights with these two kids.